for me, taking a stand were threatening my own business.
Yeah.
Like turning away money, saying, look, I'm done, and drawing a line in the sand was what it took. And that's who I am as a coach, because I'm so compassionate with people. I know these things. Why? Because I've done them myself hundreds of times. In the liquor business, I called on an account twice a week for 2 years with somebody that had done business with me, and they called me on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock and said, can you deliver this? Yes, I'll figure it out. And my warehouse closed at 4. I found somebody to borrow the product, I paid them off when I returned it, and I brought this, and it got me into the door after 2 years.
Do you struggle with balancing faith, family, and business, work, personal life? Do you need a coach? What type of coach do you choose? A business coach, a networking coach, a life coach, or a dating coach? How do you choose one? You typically don't get married after the first date. Do you rush the sale? Did you know that men are more transactional and women are more relational when it comes to business? Some of the best coaches in the world have coaches. Think Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods has 8 coaches. Listen to today's podcast. Our guest today, Les Hill. Less is More Coaching has 16,000 plus hours of coaching knowledge to share with us on today's podcast. My name's Travis Sims, and I am the founder and CEO of AGC Accelerated Global Connections. And this is the AGC Experience.
Our lives are a series of choices. Each choice leads to a result. Would you like to easily know which choices are the right life choices for you? If you've never met Amy Tyson, owner of Infinity Life Design, make it a priority to connect with her. Amy is a master of feng shui and Batsi, which she calls destiny analysis. She assists her clients in understanding the hidden forces that are influencing their lives. A destiny reading with Amy is like reading a book all about you. She highlights which decisions will bring you to your fullest potential and which choices will lead you down a path of obstacles. If you're struggling with a challenge or want to lift your life even higher, get connected with Amy at Infinity Life Design on Facebook.com/Infinity Life Design or subscribe to her online newsletter at InfinityLifeDesign.com and connect in with your infinite life.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with a great friend of mine. I am so excited to have you on this podcast. Les Hill from Less is More Coaching happens to be my business coach, one of my most trusted advisors. And it's just such a thrill to sit down in this space with you and interview you on the AGC Experience, the podcast. And so tell the audience, our listeners here today that may not know who you are or they only know you a little bit about yourself. What's your background?
So my background, of course, is life. The reason I became a coach is all of the different jobs that I've had. I'm one of these people that's been a workaholic my whole life. And in my late 70s, after spending 23 years in a sales management and wine training position, working for a liquor and wine distributor, and in the evenings, ending up in a personal training and developing company, doing personal training and development, spending 16,000 hours over 10 years.
Wow, that's a lot of hours. 16,000 hours.
Yeah, literally 20 to 30 hours a week for over 10 years. That's pretty much what it came up to when I look back at it. Finding myself in that training development, loving coaching, and became one of their program leaders. And after seeing the difference I got to make and seeing the skill set that has been blessed on me by all of the training and all of the people around me giving me their knowledge and their wisdom, and being somebody that's willing to be transparent and vulnerable, coaching was just this natural fit. I literally fell into it and fell in love with it. And most recently, because I continue to do training every year, Most recently became Zig Ziglar certified as a speaker and also as a Zig Ziglar legacy certified coach.
It's a big name. It's been around a long time. So much knowledge and expertise to draw from.
And, Zig, the thing that I found, he passed away in 2012, but his family has taken on his legacy, and his son, Tom, who's definitely what I would call an IT geek kind of guy, has really blossomed as his own speaker, using the abilities that he has to become a great speaker and to go through the training and really find myself. Also, faith-based business, finding myself with a faith-based business, being able to represent Zig Ziglar has been a huge asset to what I'm up to and what I'm up to creating as a coach and business coach and finding my own niche.
What I like, and knowing about you, that you are a faith-based business, that you found an organization to support you that aligned with what are your core values for your business. I think that's so important.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I think that's, since the beginning of the year, that's been one of the paradigms for me that I've shifted in my own business. Like, if you're not faith-based, what I've found is the foundation of who people are as a business is weak. It's a little bit like Jell-O. When they're faith-based, there's some piece of cement that I can get to, like there's a rock, no pun intended.
Sure.
And from that, to be able to always know that that's the bottom and to build from that has been just a huge blessing for me.
Okay. So based on what you just shared with me, you were a product of getting coaching and training, and you had such a growth personally and professionally from that, you wanted to pay it forward and help others. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I have one of these big aspirations that I look at what's at the core of my businesses. Mine is transforming the world through communication. So at the top of my pyramid of work that I do with people, it's working with them to have them become communicators at a whole new level that's possible.
Yeah. So I'm curious now, if someone, how do people decide, like, it's time to hire a business coach for me? What is it that brings them to that decision? How do they know that it's like, all right, this is the next step for me?
That is probably the toughest question on the planet. It's okay, because I knew that it would probably be, so how do you find your clients? How do people find you?
Yeah.
One, people find me by word of mouth is the number one place.
Okay.
I do go to a lot of networking groups, AGC being, just a blessing. That kind of sets a stage for me to play from, though, where what I look for and what people look for is a time for me to have a coach. First is my business going at the speed, direction, growth, and expansion that I wanted to right now, that I said a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago? Is it where it's at?
Yeah.
If not, what's the gap? In that gap, if I had a coach or a mentor, an accountability partner, or somebody that was holding me to account at the level of a coach to a professional. If you went and asked Tiger Woods, do you know how many coaches Tiger Woods has currently on retainer every day?
I don't know the answer, but I'm guessing that he has a lot of coaches.
He has a minimum of 8.
Oh, wow.
And these aren't people that he's paying, a couple $1,000s a month to.
Yeah.
These are people that he's paying a significant amount of money to, based on the performance of each of the things that they're tracking and keeping track of for him. And even a lifestyle coach for him, being responsible. I mean, my own experience, I hired a dating coach.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was through having a dating coach that I got held to an account that I've never been held to, never held myself to. And it was one of the biggest breakthroughs, where I met my current wife, Kristen, through that paradigm of that dating coach. And I did not step over the line. And when I wanted to, I called my coach. And as a result, we went on 12 dates before she kissed me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
and rather than me always being the aggressor, pushing myself, and not in a negative way, but being the one that always precipitated the physical affection and emotional affection.
Yeah.
And as a result of my life and a part of my journey is that's part of the holistic approach of coaching that I work with: faith, family, business. And any one of those that is not in balance or in sync is the first place I look for coaching.
It's interesting that you related that to the dating world and your own experience, because I find that a lot of times when I'm at networking things, which we're at a lot of these, and not just AGC, but when we're at networking things, a lot of times people try to rush the relationship. They try to rush the sale. They get there and it's like sell, sell, sell. It's like I didn't come here to buy today. I came here to meet people. I came here to build a relationship or to start one. And you don't get married usually typically after the first date.
No, there's the flukes and there's the exceptions out there.
Yeah.
I think one of the, I've coached a few people that are in what I call direct sales, often referred to as multi-level marketing.
Sure.
And negatively referred to without an education as pyramid schemes.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, what I often tell them, because they're out for the quick punch, right? They show up, they throw their stuff down, and they want a sale.
Yeah.
And I look and go, that's what we don't have at AGC. That's what as your coach, a lot of times when people come, oh, who are you? What do you do? I let people know, look, I'm out to create AGC as this network of people that come together socially and then set an appointment outside of the networking event to then talk about business in a much more business-oriented setting where they can speak efficiently to the person and effectively to the person that they've met, because they've met socially and they've had some time to kind of get to know who the person is, what's their family, what's their background. Now I can show up a little more educated with my business questions and my business thoughts.
Yeah, it's interesting too. It's not only multi-level marketing, but many people in business operate that way. And it's also interesting how men and women network differently. Men tend to be more transactional. They very easily say, hi, my name is, and this is my company, and I do X amount of sales per year, and this is why I'm the greatest, and here's why you could choose me, right? and then oftentimes women, which is why in the whole percentage things, they have the long game figured out, because they're more relational, they're more nurturing. They understand it's a farming expedition. It's a more of a tortoise versus the hare type of thing, and so it pays off that way. But you even have to often ask them, and what was your name? What was your business? And just how people network differently. So I'm curious now that we know how someone finds you or what, why is it really that they want to go from just up their game a little bit? Maybe you're already good at what you do, you're already successful, but now you want to get yourself to the next level. Is that a reason you often find people?
That's the big gap.
Okay.
Is often finding that. The other is people come to me because I just, in my spiritual game or in my family game, I just, something's missing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about entrepreneurship, it's usually somebody that's really driven. They're usually some sort or version of a workaholic.
Yeah.
Because they love what they do.
Love what they do, right?
So for a lot of people, on the weekend, they'll work because they love it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's to them as fun and as exciting as playing a video game.
Yeah.
The difference in what I see is they're so into it that they don't even see. So what I provide is this mirror, and in a gentle way, in what I call a paradigm shifting or transformational, depending on what words you like to use, I look and say, okay, first of all, let's look at the basic. What's your why? What is your vision and your mission? What are some of the goals you have for yourself? And in the why, a lot of times people say, well, I really want to make enough money to be able to have my family to have and do and be able to have these great vacations, have nice things, do great things, have education that wouldn't be provided. So there's usually that foundation along there with their faith buried at the bottom. And so I find that out and come and say, okay, what would it be like if you had balance? What if you brought this balance? Because you and I both know you have clients that if you said, you know what, I have to be at my son's baseball game tonight, they'd be like, awesome. And the next time you saw them, how'd your son do last week?
Yeah.
And they'd be interested. Why? Because they're family people too.
Yeah.
Even people without kids are very interested because they have family that have kids. So I look at connecting that and creating that world all as a holistic expression of how's their health, how's their well-being. I look at partnering with their business without signing any partnership documents, just as an emotional way, and looking at what it takes to have them take their business to the next level and their family to the next level and their faith to the next level. That's the game that I play through integrity, accountability, structures for fulfillment, i.e. goals and things like that, and also grace, so that they find peace in, being able to say, gosh, I suddenly realized I've done all this stuff and haven't paid attention to my kid, like I missed all this time. Awesome, now that you see it, how do we create the next bridge? How do we explain it to the kids, show, and then create something new?
Yeah. Some of the things you keyed in on is probably some of the leading reasons that I chose you as a business coach. And it's because I have, in previous times of my life, I've chosen business over relationships or business over family. And it was because I loved what I did and I was spending so much time on it that I looked up and I'm like, it's 11 o'clock at night and everyone else has went to bed. And I missed what was happening in the family. And later, as I grew as a person and professionally and realized my shortcomings and putting things that were important to me in place, and when I found you, I'm like, here's a business coach that gets me, understands me, and has some of the same coaching and values that I also have. So that leads me to, because there's a lot of business coaches out there. And there are so many to choose from. And there's probably a variety of reasons why you would choose one over the other. And I'm just curious, from a coach's standpoint, how does the consumer that's out there weighing their decision, like, all right, I've made a decision, I'm going to hire a business coach. I know I need it for these reasons. How do they pick the right one for them?
The best way that I can answer that is how I create selection for me when I meet with somebody. There is a transparency that I immediately let people know. I'm not some of the coaching organizations out there. I don't have a 3-ring binder that I meet with you every week. I don't have a selection of videos that you can go and click and learn from. Who knows, maybe in the future I might, but that isn't, at the moment, that's not my methodology. How I work is, and I jokingly refer to it, you're David and I'm Michelangelo. And you come to me as David, imagining the piece of granite that can speak and say, here's who I am, here's what I have, here's where I've been, and here's where I'd like to go. And then I step back with that information through an intake form and through these different techniques that I have, and I move forward. And like Michelangelo, create David. Now, I do that in full partnership with the granite.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly in communication with, is this working or not? And I think there's a lack of that in coaching out there. There's a lot of places that are very cookie cutter, and they're not responsible for the feedback. So what I end up finding is there are people with a sour taste in their mouth from coaching. Well, I paid this huge fee. I didn't really get any value. I had these videos, but that's not really my way of learning. And what I then do is say, okay, so let's take another approach to it where we're looking at these are the 7 areas of your life you want to be controlled on, you want to be held accountable for, and then there's your business.
Mm-hmm.
And so we check in on each of those. Well, that may not be the style you want. I mean, I had a client that I met with who was adamant that we would only talk about business. We would never talk about his personal life. We would never talk about his health and well-being. I said, I'm not the coach for you. And he'd been referred to me. He says, yes, you are, Les. You're my guy. Yeah. I've heard how successful you are. You've been with my best friend who referred. And I said, I understand that. But the way I coach and the way I was successful is all these areas. Les, I'll double what you want to charge me. And then finally it was, I'll triple what you want to charge me. I said, look, it's not about the money. I can refer a coach to you that will fit your needs.
Yeah.
This is not how I coach. And I really appreciate, and I want you to know, trust me, it's difficult to say no to 3 times my rate.
Right.
But in the end, I checked in about a year later. He did follow one of my leads. Mm-hmm. He did do some coaching with that person for 6 months, and it was absolutely phenomenal for him. He, as a client, would have not been a phenomenal client for me because I would constantly have been asking him about things that he didn't want to talk about.
Wow. I'm certain that you probably coach a lot of your clients the same way, choosing how you want to spend your time, who you want to spend it with, what you want to spend it on. Just time's our most valuable asset, even more so than money. And you just demonstrated that for our listeners here today. And so now I'm curious because we've talked about a lot of things. Do you have any favorite success stories that you might want to share, whether it's one of your own or a client of yours that you helped hit a home run that you might be willing to share with us?
Yeah, so I have one. I'm coaching a gentleman who is a consultant to construction companies and also to cities in their construction and their maintenance division. And he does safety training, he does consulting, he does team leadership training, he does, how to set things up amongst teams and communicate from all the different layers with a lot of blue collar people. And he walks into businesses and it takes him a long time, sometimes 4 years to build a relationship.
Wow.
That's what he's shared with me. And he hired me. We've known each other for a long time. And I've given him tons of free advice over the years. And I finally said, look, you got to start paying me. I can't do this anymore. My time's getting limited. And he goes, fine, Les. And he's very frugal, which is good. So I had a breakthrough with having him pay me.
Right.
But most recently, what he did was he cold calls a lot of people. And I've got my past in cold calling and sales training and all of that, and that would be a whole nother conversation.
I once did telemarketing. True.
Mm-hmm.
Sat at the desk with the computer screen and the headset on and did telemarketing, one call right after another. Talk about rejection and getting the feeling of rejection all day long. This was early in my 20s. It was a really good learning experience, though, that I'm able to learn from today.
My question was, did the company put a mirror in your cubicle?
No mirror. They didn't.
So that was one of the things I added to a company.
Oh.
Because I had learned a long time ago at a company that I worked at, they put a mirror there. And I'm like, why do I have a mirror?
Yeah.
And the owner said, if you're looking at and you're not smiling when you're on the phone, your sales will be reduced.
Oh, that's so good. You can totally hear in a conversation if someone's enjoying the conversation, if they're smiling or not.
Bingo. And it's some of it to some people, well, I never listened to that. I know, but it happens in that amygdala, in that subconscious, and it's just one of the things. And if we hear somebody's upset, we're defensive. We can be maternal or paternal in the way we're responding to that conversation. If we hear somebody's angry or they're mad at the last client in their conversation, in the background, then we get defensive. And this happens. This is all that brain science. If you remember, we just did at AGC, we just had Dr. Terry Wu did that amazing conversation about color.
Yes, it was so good.
And so, if you're listening to this, check it out. It is one of the best, I would say, personally, it's the best, even over my own.
That's right. You're not a speaker at AGC.
Even over my own. It's the best one you've ever had. And it was so amazing. I can't wait to meet up with him because we're going to be doing coffee together.
Oh, that's great.
And to fast forward that, just to finish the piece of my
story.
No, that's fine. But the thing that happened was I gave him some coaching, and he's a coach, right? So they're the toughest people to coach sometimes because they're slow to move. They've had their successes, they've had their hardships. So to break out of that paradigm requires a lot of patience, a lot of grace, a lot of sensitivity. And I finally had to draw a line in the sand the other day. I said, look, you call on this person, call them up. Here's a great idea. Call up the front desk of the gatekeeper of the business and see if she wants a cup of coffee. We're at a coffee shop right now for our meeting.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, it's a great idea, Les. He calls up and comes back and he says, the two people that I need to talk to aren't there. So she says, don't waste your time. I said, are you kidding me? This is the best time to bring her a cup of coffee. And he goes back, let me call her again. Because he's now got a relationship after 4 years, right?
Sure.
He calls her back and she's like, no. You don't have to do that. Now, in those words, you don't have to do that. I know from my sales experience and my knocking on doors that if I show up with it based on you don't have to, it opens up a miracle. And he's like, Les, she said no like 17 times. I said, look, I'm drawing a line in the sand, John Doe. That's my made up name for him.
Sure.
I said, John, I'm drawing a line in the sand. I'm tired of hitting this wall with you. And you finally take my coaching a week or 2 or 3 weeks later. And then you come back and say, oh my God, Les, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Right? On this one, you either take it today or we're done.
Yeah.
He's like, what, we're done coaching? I said, yeah, I'm done. Because I don't want to waste my breath.
Sure.
I know this will work. I said, he goes, so he comes back and he says, she doesn't want a cup of coffee. I said, then bring her a gift card. Oh, I never thought about that. I said, just do it. Bring her a $10 gift card, go and say hi. 15 minutes later, because it was around the corner from the coffee shop, 15 minutes later, he calls me, Les, the biggest breakthrough I've ever had. She had tears in her eyes. She was so grateful. She says, nobody's ever done this in the whole time I've ever worked here. You know what? Next week, I guarantee you, John Doe, you will have an appointment with one of those 3 people you want to see.
Wow.
Now, for me, taking a stand, we're threatening my own business.
Yeah.
Like turning away money, saying, look, I'm done, and drawing a line in the sand was what it took. And that's who I am as a coach. Because I'm so compassionate that people, I know these things. Why? Because I've done them myself hundreds of times.
Yeah.
In the liquor business, I called on an account twice a week for 2 years with somebody that had done business with me, and they called me on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock and said, can you deliver this? Yes, I'll figure it out. And my warehouse closed at 4. And I found somebody to borrow the product. I paid them off when I returned it, and I brought this, and it got me into the door after 2 years.
Yeah. It's not only in your own experiences, but even in your years of coaching and your experience with others, coaching them in multiple ways. It's a wealth of knowledge to pass on to help others. And you hit on one key thing that I don't know if our listeners caught, but I want to point out is that you said I was coaching another business coach. And what I like about that is that it tells me that even the leading business coaches in the world have coaches. And what message that serves to me as a business owner, a salesperson, an entrepreneur, a CEO, an executive, whatever, is that you need a coach. I consistently surround myself with people that I think are better than me. Because if you want to take your company in the right direction, you hire people who could replace you, people who are better than you, so you're always taking it up. if you're consistently hiring people who are less than you or not as talented as you, you're taking the company down. And so the same with advisors and business coaches and whatever people you're surrounding yourself, and they tell you that you're in the top 5. The people you surround yourself is the 5 people that you are a product of, and it's so important that you have the right people in your life and you have someone else looking in and giving you advice and things like that. I'm just a big fan. I've used business coaches a long time, and I think you're the 5th coach that I've worked with. Some of it due to moving and different jobs and so on, and others, because it served this time and purpose in my life. Mm-hmm. And then there was a need for someone that could serve a different time and purpose in my life. But I enjoy working with you. I love the philosophy of what you do and how you do it.
It's interesting, and just picking up on some of this stuff. And by the way, thank you very much. I appreciate your business every day. And I know that the people that I coach, I learn a lot from. I've learned a lot about networking. I've learned a lot about the peace and calm that you bring to situations. It's just amazing. And inside of networking, how important that is. There was a time in my life, even now, sometimes as somebody who's pretty type A, that's pretty OCD, that's pretty anal retentive, all those kind of maybe even ADHD, whatever you want to call it. It's taken a lot for me to find my peace. And so to see that, it's been a blessing, and to see that and be able to take that away from our experiences. And that's one of the things I pride myself on too, is I don't know a lot. I know a lot of amazing people that have shared things with me that I turn around and share with my clients that have been very successful. And as you say, surrounding yourself, I've surrounded myself. It's one of the reasons I like AGC. I'm surrounding myself with professional people that are good in their field, good to excellent. They're not the people that are coming in at the bottom tier, which happens a lot in meetups. Not that they're all bad, but that's, it's like that's what's driven there, because a lot of it's free, or these networking after hours things that, drive another kind of participation that may even be, I could find my perfect partner at so the dating part of it. To me, AGC gives me this opportunity to come in and just learn from other people. I have a coach. I actually have 2 coaches, and I have a couple people that I consider my coaches. I don't tell them that because we just are friends that share stuff back and forth. Yeah. And they know it because we joke about it occasionally, or they'll prod me one day. I'm sending you a bill list, by the way. Yeah. And I'll send the same to them. But you had said something about hiring the right people, like hiring people that are better than you. I mean, that Bill Gates, Microsoft, that's his famous motto. I'm a high school dropout. I just learned how to surround myself with people better than me. Yeah. And I think I find sometimes there are people in small businesses or even vice presidents in companies that I go to that are threatened. They are threatened by hiring that person that, oh my God, this person is so good, they're going to replace me. And I look at that, and that's completely the wrong mindset. In today's day and age of mindset, that is like, wow, I would want to hire those people, because you know what? Your company's not going to fire you. They may find a place for that person, and the company grows. So you've now contributed to the growth of the company by providing somebody that is a superstar. Yeah.
That reminds me of a personal story, and that is that I was building a team of people to grow a company. And this person that I brought on, well, first of all, I didn't like them. And we operate in this world where it's no like and trust, right? Like is an important thing. But I just didn't like them. It wasn't someone that I could see myself just hanging out with on a personal level at all. And but they kept getting in front of me, and it was like, all right, I'm going to consider this person. And then I finally decided that I was going to bring them onto the team. And then the other team members consistently would ask me, why do you have this person on our team? They're just, an odd personality, right? And I said, I'll tell you why. And I said, it's because this person consistently challenges me on why I'm doing something or how I'm doing it. They're consistently asking me, why are you doing it that way? How could we do it better? Have you thought about this, Travis? And a lot of the other team members are just saying yes. If you surround yourself by people that are just the yes men, the yes women, and no one's challenging you to do better than you are, you'll stay right where you're at. And that's why I put them on the team.
Yeah. And I also think that, inside of communication and team building, they say this about marriage, right? When you marry somebody, you are greater than the sum of the parts. So 1 + 1 = 3. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. And I look at that with teams. When we sit around a table, and this is for me specifically with my clients, it's a lot of times where I'll include their significant other. When I have meetings now, usually the way that I get vetted to be a coach is I invite them to bring their significant other. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I know, though, to create the impact in the relationship, I bring in that significant other because the sum of all of our information, I don't have an answer. He doesn't have an answer. She doesn't have an answer. The three of us together create an answer that is unknown, unthought of, and is a sum of the total of the parts. And it is just profound. And I get so excited. And people go, oh, well, Les, you did such a great job. I'm like, I didn't. We did. It's a we thing.
Yeah. This conversation has been so much fun, and I could just keep going and going. And we'll probably finish this on Monday on our coaching time. And but I want to leave our audience with a few things. And first of all, what type of coaching you do? Some one-to-one coaching, I know. It sounds like you work with some teams as well. And I know I've invited you into the space. Not only do you work with me individually, but I've invited you in when we've had captain meetings and conference Zoom calls and things like that. And you also do some workshops and conferences and stuff as well, right?
Yes, I do. I've not really pushed it, but I do go do speaking engagements where I get up and I challenge the audiences. For me, it's about audience participation. I'm not just going to be this talking head up in the front of the room. I actually work with the audience and get them involved. I think you may or may not remember this, but for 13 years, I was Lord Lester, the wine master of the Renaissance Festival.
I just went to my first Renaissance Festival.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a great time.
It's really good. I enjoyed it because it let you be fully self-expressed, and that's something that I tend to bring to my workshops, my classes. I've been had the privilege of being given CLEs, which are continuing legal education units, based on the impact that I've had working with attorneys, just as an example. And I'm currently going through the process with accountants to be able to do the same thing. And I do work with high schools where I go in and work with the seniors that are either in a marketing class or a sociology class, and do some work with the seniors around communication. And it's very simple. I'm not like reinventing the wheel. It's listening, being present, speaking, body language, and being in another person's world.
That's awesome. So if one of our listeners in the audience is going right now, I know why I need to use a coach, and now I'm ready to do so. How would we find you? Where should they look? How will they get in touch with you?
Well, just because I want to brown nose a little bit, I'm going to say, first off, you could find me by going to joinagc.com.
Oh, thank you.
And when you go in there, you can see where the events are. And there's about a 99% chance that I'll be at one of the events. So you can find me there. You can see me in some of the pictures that are at those events.
You can watch you talk also. You're a guest and did a great keynote.
Thanks. And from there, you can go to www.les, L-E-S, with one S, Hill, HILL.info.
Okay.
Or if you've, by this point, if you're watching the video and you've seen my business name is Less is More Coaching, you can go look up Less is More Coaching with one S again. And yes, it's a pun on my coaching.
Yeah.
And find me at lessismorecoaching.com. And also, if you are a mobile phone user, go to 612-867-0104. Once again, that's 612-867-0104. Give me a call or send me a text message. And of course, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Snapchat, thanks to my stepkids.
Right, yes.
And I'm on Pinterest now, thanks to one of my clients. I started my own wedding site.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I want to say thank you so much for being a guest on the AGC Experience, the podcast show. It's been a pleasure to have you here. It's great to have you in this space. And I want to thank our listeners and our audience on YouTube and other places for listening and checking out our podcast. And please share it with others, tell others. If you've not yet been to an AGC event, please come be our guest. We want to see you and we want to learn more about you and your business.
This podcast was produced by Elation Studios. Go to www.elationstudios.co. That's www.elationstudios.co to learn more. Elation Studios. Discover your voice, clarify your vision, build your life.